if you have one of these bottles in your cabinet and there's a minute leak in this thing just by chance, those fumes and that gas is going to build up inside that cabinet. It's going to stay in there. And God forbid, somebody should be smoking around it. A light should go, lighter should go off. Even an electrical switch nearby, if it's, in contact with those fumes, can set it off. And there is a shitload of energy in this one can. Now imagine keeping this can and others like this in that same cabinet. So if one of them goes off, it's going to set all of these off. So let me get this straight. You're going to compare a 100,000 or more square foot building with 30 or more high ceilings to a house. And we're not just talking a house. We're talking if you're going to store these bottles in your house, you're more than likely going to stick them in a room that's less than 200 square feet. You're more than likely going to store them in a closet or something that's maybe about 5 to 10 square feet. If one of those bottles in these department stores springs a leak, more than likely no one's ever going to notice. Because also these buildings have several 250-ton or more air handling units that move this air out. If that same bottle springs a leak in your 200 or less square foot room, it usually has nowhere to go, unless of course it gets pushed through the vents through the rest of the house. And then, God forbid, if anyone's sleeping, they're not going to wake up. Heaven help you if that room is closed off and that propane or whatever gas you stored in there gets a leak and starts building up in his receptacle. It's a bomb. How many times have you seen on the news these houses that explode from having propane stored in there or natural gas stored in there? Very rarely do you ever see these department stores have a problem with something like that. So you come on here and try to convince everyone that 100,000 square foot is the same as less than 200 square foot, so it doesn't matter where you store these, just makes you look like an idiot. And I don't come up with these figures off the top of my head. I actually call gas companies. I've actually talked to propane companies. I've actually talked to the Virginia natural gas companies and got all my knowledge on how this stuff works. I've actually looked and seen what the safety code is for these big box stores. If you notice, these propane bottles aren't against any wall. They're usually out in the middle aisle because that way they're away from any receptacles. But what you need to do, it's your family, play it smart. Don't store these bottles inside your home, anywhere in your home. Make sure that wherever you store them, like in your garage or shed, there's plenty of ventilation.